Hi there, I'm Zoot Java. Today I'd like to talk about Chris Matthews, who I was no fan of, but he lost his job, and women who do actually know how to defend themselves. Chris Matthews, who worked at MSNBC for I believe 20 years, was at the center of the cancel culture nonsense, wherein he lost his job as a result of Laura Bassett, who he apparently flirted with a few years before. He did make a few stupid comments lately, such as Bernie Sanders winning in the Nevada primary being similar to Nazi Germany's invasion of France in 1940. Of course, this was off the wall wrong, and rightly so at this point. The Twitter troopers came out to bash him from all sides, as well as Laura Bassett, who decided to name him as the nasty man who said something to her that she took offense to. He took criticism for mixing up two black gentlemen, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina and Jamie Harrison, running against Senator Lindsey Graham. He also took it on the chin for an exchange with Elizabeth Warren for simply asking during a question of Mike Bloomberg telling a woman to kill her child, why or why not to believe him or her, and Elizabeth Warren saying that the woman must be believed, which means that Bloomberg must not be telling the truth. Bassett says Matthews said to her, "Why haven't I fallen in love with you yet?" As a result, even though she wasn't an employee on the show, it undermined my ability to do my job well. Okay. Unfortunately, Chris Matthews apologized and resigned. My take on this is typical to how I view leftists. I don't believe that Chris Matthews should have lost his job over this nonsense. Yeah, I said nonsense, even though I'm no fan whatsoever of Chris Matthews, even though I disagree with him. The outrage mob are vultures that circle around the Twitter trends that descend on it to begin attacking anyone who has any views even slightly different to theirs. Hence the first four letters of Twitter being a definition, not just part of a word. These bumbling idiots who fall prey to running their businesses, particularly the media, should realize that it is actually a small percentage of the population signed on to make fools of themselves, demanding that businesses fire people or shut them down, etc. If they themselves had half a brain in their heads, they'd take a look at the structure of Twitter. It's designed to be like a series of car wrecks. Someone says something they don't like, they type in their caustic remarks, and off they go. Oddly enough, it's similar to people driving. The slightest thing, and they're blowing their horns, yelling and screaming like fools at total strangers for no apparent reason other than they obviously cut me off. Because they're jerks. It's so convenient to act very brave, sitting behind 2,000 pounds of metal where they can't get a hold of you. Segue into Twitter, where you can take out your rage onto somebody you'll never have to see face to face. A pig pen to wallow in on the internet. As for the "I'm a poor woman" routine, I'm sorry, but given the scale of offensive remarks, that one, while inappropriate, is hardly enough to send anybody off cowering for their life. I worked with some women before. One of them was up a stepladder when some idiot came up behind her and put his hand on the inside of her leg. She quickly brought her other knee forward and kicked back as hard as she could. She got him right on the chin, knocked him over, and he was lying on the floor in a daze, rubbing his chin that he thought was broken. I had to sit down because I was laughing so hard. She was satisfied with the revenge she had gotten, and needless to say, he never did anything like this ever again to any of the ladies who were working there. We really don't need anybody stepping in. People really can fix their own problems when it's only comments made to each other. I worked at a company, and after 20 years, we were forced to endure diversity training. It was the biggest nightmare we'd ever dealt with. Before the training, if we had a problem with a coworker, we'd tell each other to buzz off, or worse, and that was basically the end of it. After the training, Everybody acted like a little flower, going up to the human resources, whining that somebody called them a name, and it made them feel uncomfortable. It created a problem that wasn't there before, and they wound up bearing the brunt of it. Thank you. Anyway, now for the part that you've all been waiting for, my bad joke. I recently saw a social justice movie that had a really happy ending. The audience was thrilled when it was over. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications of all my words of wisdom. Also, share my content on all your social media, as I tend to get deleted from all the usual suspects. Until we meet again, have a Java on Zoot.